The early 2000s were such a special time for pop culture. I was born in 2000, so I'm not really old enough to remember what was going on for that early part of the decade, but I didn't miss out on everything. Heelys, Pop Tropica, video stores, and silly bands will always have a special place in my heart. But even after all of them have faded from memory, one pop culture phenomenon will continue to live on in the forefront of entertainment. I'm not even going to beat around the bush about it, it's Harry Potter. If you read the title of the video, you'll know that I'm talking about Harry Potter. Since the first book came out in 1998, I started out a bit behind the hype, but I got caught up to it by the time I hit first grade. My parents, being the awesome people that they are, decided the first movie would make a fun family night for us all and popped it into the VCR. I know some people won't know what I'm talking about when I say VCR, so I'll explain it for you. It was a big old box that sat underneath your TV, which was also a box. You then put the smaller box into that one that had the movie on a tape inside of it. So, to sum it up, you put the smallest box into the second smallest box to watch a movie on the biggest box. Boxes, as you may have noticed, were a pretty big part of life back then, which is probably where the idea for Minecraft came from, actually. Okay, off topic. Anyway, my parents unknowingly started me on a lifelong love of this series and even got in on it themselves a couple of times. Now, when it comes to Harry Potter, there's two types of fans. I don't mean the ones that only watch the movies and the ones that read the books and watch the movies. Those groups have been at war since the beginning. I'm talking about the ones that sat daydreaming about getting that sweet, sweet acceptance letter, and the ones who are lying. They were liars. There's no way you liked the series and didn't do that. Don't even try to act like you were too cool to run over to the mailbox and dig through a mountain of bills looking for those emerald green letters on a big fat envelope. It's okay, we all did it. You aren't weird. Or maybe we're all weird? I don't know. My point is, you're not alone, and that's all that matters. As much as I love the series, there's always been a few things that never really made sense to me. Most of them are pretty small, like, instead of just continuously fixing his glasses, why didn't Harry just use magic to fix his eyes? That would make sense to me. Who would ever choose a toad over an owl? One delivers your mail and can fly around looking cool, while the other one just sits there. Before you all yell at me, I know toads are cool. I've always liked them, but, I mean, come on. Would you rather have a Hedwig or a Trevor? How exactly does the wand choose the wizard? Is it like one of those online personality tests? How likely are you to turn to the dark side? Could you be the next master of death? Are you secretly harboring a portion of the Dark Lord's soul within you? Your wand course says it all. You know, stupid things like that. Other questions I have are a bit more frustrating. I'll talk about a few of them, but some can get pretty out in the weeds, so I'll leave those out for right now. Number 1. Why was Dumbledore so bad at hiring people? Sure, Lupin was legitimately one of the best characters in the franchise, and Dumbledore had absolutely no say in Umbridge being there, but Filch? Lockhart? Quirrell? The first one purposely made life hard for everyone, students and teachers alike. The second was a liar willing to let a young girl die and erase the memories of her brother and the literal chosen one to cover his tracks. And the third one was the host of the most powerful dark sorcerer to ever exist. You can't honestly tell me that with all the other witches and wizards around, there wasn't any applicants more qualified, or at the very least less evil. Side note, who else got nightmares from that face reveal at the end of Sorcerer's Stone? I know I did. 2. Why was everyone so unwilling to use magic to solve problems in a place where the goal was to literally teach them how to do just that? Most of the problems in the whole series would have been solved a lot sooner if anyone bothered to just cast a few spells. Giant snake? Magic. Ratman escaping? Magic. I know everybody makes a big deal about not using the unforgivable curses in the series because of morals and things like that. But if the guy who killed my parents decided to tell me his whole life story instead of finishing me off, I would have avowed his cadavra so fast. I really love the series as a whole. There was magic, sword fights, kind of, side characters that didn't seem like they got their backstory from a fortune cookie, It just hit all my boxes for what a good series should be. When Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out, it was kind of bittersweet. I mean, the movie was fantastic, and it was a good ending for the story, but that was the problem for me. The ride was just over. I tried to move on with life and even got interested in another series that was also great, but there was still a Harry Potter shaped hole in my heart. Until they announced that the Wizarding World of Harry Potter was going to live on in the form of a spin-off. My excitement was off the charts. I knew that there was only one thing that it could be. The thing that everyone and their dog had been talking about and wishing for even while the movies and books were still coming out for the main series. They had to be making a Marauders spin-off. I was so happy to finally get more of my favorite series, and I had always wanted to see the adventures of Moony, Padfoot, Prongs, and Wormtail, even though he was a traitor. The closer the trailer release date got, the more excited I became. This was it. I was finally going to relive that wonder of walking through the Great Hall doors and basking in the glory of it all, when tragedy struck. Imagine 13-year-old Danny sitting there while the first spin-off trailer launched and feeling his entire world fall apart in a matter of minutes. Rather than go with what would have been a guaranteed #1 box office hit, these Einsteins went with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. What the? I was crushed. Who got up one day, looked out the window, and said, "You know what would be a huge hit? Some random textbook for an imaginary school that was mentioned like twice in the whole series. Now that is a golden ticket idea." I hope they're happy, whoever they are, because they cheated everyone out of something amazing. Wow, that was a huge downer. How about some funny scenes from the movies to cheer everybody up? I think you know which one I'm going to say. Remember when Buckbeak was about to be executed and everyone was standing up on that hill all sad? Hermione goes and puts her head on Ron's shoulder for comfort or whatever, and we get treated to this absolute gem that is Harry trying to awkwardly squeeze his way into the hug like the third wheel he is. Even as a kid watching this, I couldn't help but cringe. Also, I can't be the only one who thought Moaning Myrtle was just Daniel Radcliffe in a wig. Every time I tell somebody that, they look at me like I'm insane, but they look exactly alike. If you don't believe me, go watch the second movie and tell me you don't get at least a little confused the first time she makes an appearance. Here's the exact time it happens, too. The timestamp's on screen right now. Why don't you pause the video and go check it out? Go on, I'll be here when you get back. See what I mean? In my defense, the glasses definitely don't help. If Harry can understand snakes, what do you think he heard while the basilisk was chasing him around the tunnel system? I can just imagine it being like, "I'm gonna get ya," as it just blindly slithers through the pipes bumping into stuff and for some reason not being able to smell him with that giant tongue. I thought I'd change it up a bit for this one, and add some bloopers from when I was recording for you guys to enjoy after the video. See you guys next time. I think which one you know I am. Gosh dang it. I'm talking about the ones that... Son of a gun. I don't like that. Could you... Voice crack.